Now today we're going to talk about a little something different than just nutrition. I want to talk about cardio and cardiovascular training and how important that is for your weight loss program or your fitness program. In fact, if you have not been doing that much cardio up until now and you felt like you've hit a plateau like we talked about last time, remember I said increase your exercise, increase that cardio. So this is a great time to really take a look at that cardio and maybe some things that we can do to really help you break through those plateaus, or just to make sure that you're doing your cardio correctly. You have your heart rate in the right zone and you're in the fat burning zone and all that good stuff. So we've talked about the different types of cardio that we should be doing, but now we need to talk about where your heart rate should be while you're doing it, because this is very important. So let's take a look at the different heart rates and how they affect our bodies. Now, we all know how to take our heart rate. I'm assuming, we can just do it here, or you can take your pulse here, or I highly recommend getting those automatic ones where you just wear a little strap around your waist or around your stomach, and then you wear a watch, and it sends a signal to that watch, and it'll tell you your heart rate. In fact, it'll tell you how many calories you burn in a day. It's a great tool to have. I highly recommend it. They're called a heart rate monitor. You can get them at most stores that are, most athletic stores and so forth. So take a look at one of those. All right, so here's our different heart rates. You've got your resting heart rate. So this is obviously what your heart rate is at rest, with you're doing no activity, when you first wake up in the morning, so forth. Your anaerobic heart rate, this is the one that your heart rate of when, like say you're doing weight training. It's not that high. It's a lower heart rate. You're moving around, you're doing some kind of activity. That's your anaerobic heart rate. Your fat burning heart rate is where your heart rate needs to be for maximum fat burning. This is where I want you to be in when you're doing your cardio, or when you're doing your exercising, or you're doing your training to burn calories. You want to be in that fat burning zone. It's very important. Now your aerobic heart rate is your heart rate when you're doing like performance activities. So this is, say you're training for a 5K or you're training for a triathlon and you're just really cranking away and your heart rate's through the roof. That's when you're in the aerobic heart rate zone. Now this is where you don't want to be if you're looking to shed a little body fat, because you've actually gone beyond the body fat heart rate, the optimal zone for burning fat. And then the other one that we need to know is your maximum heart rate. And this is obviously the maximum that your heart rate should ever go training. You should never go beyond this. This would be it'd be very dangerous for you for your heart rate to go any higher. But it's important to know what your maximum heart rate is so that we can figure out the formulas for all the other heart rates. So let's talk about the formulas for achieving our target heart rate. Now in this case, because again, we're talking about how do we burn more fat, so we're going to talk about the fat burning zone. Our fat burning zone is our target heart rate in this case. All right. Now, I typically want you to be between 65 and 75% of your maximum heart rate. That's going to be your target fat burning zone. That's your target heart rate. So 65 to 75% of your maximum heart rate. Now, how do you find out your maximum heart rate? Easy. Take 220 and subtract your age. That's really about it. That's going to give you your maximum heart rate. Now, this is not an exact science, but this is a real close number that we've been using for years that's pretty darn accurate. So for example, you would take your maximum heart rate and then multiply that by 65 to 75% to equal your target heart rate or your heart rate zone. Always be checking that, making sure you're in that fat burning zone, that target heart rate. 65 to 75% of your maximum heart rate is when you're going to be burning optimal amount of calories. And be careful, because I see a lot of people who will go beyond that heart rate zone, and they're in that aerobic zone, that performance zone. They're at 75 to 80 to 90% of their maximum heart rate. They're just cranking away and sweating away and all that, and you're not burning fat anymore. You're actually probably burning muscle. Very important. We don't want to burn muscle. Remember, we want to feed the muscle, burn the fat. So stay in that heart rate range. Very important. So now we found our heart rate and where our heart rate needs to be. So now let's talk about length of cardio. And I get this question a lot. How long should I be doing it for? What is the right amount? What is the right, right length? Well, unfortunately, and I hate to say this, but it is time, not intensity, that counts. In other words, the longer the duration you can do, the more fat burning you're going to achieve. The other thing you have to remember, and a lot of people forget about this, is that the first 10 to 15 minutes of doing a cardio exercise, you're not burning any fat. You're not burning anything other than just oxygen and that glucose, that sugar that's still in your bloodstream. So it usually takes about 10 to 15 minutes for your body to even be in that fat burning zone. You might have your heart rate in the right place, but your body is not actually burning fat yet. So the key is you want to have at least 30 minutes in that fat burning zone. This is why I typically recommend 45 to 60 minutes of cardio is going to have you in that fat burning zone for 30 minutes or a little more. This right here will burn 500 to 1,000 calories, depending on which machine or which exercise that you're doing. And so again, if you're looking to achieve optimal results quickly, this is the way to do it. Now, some people I know, they can only do 30 minutes at a time, and that's fine. I'd rather see you do 3 30-minute sessions a week than do nothing. So very important to get as much time in as you can when it comes to cardio, no more than an hour though. Okay, another question I get a lot is, well, what is the best time of day to do cardio? And this is really going to have to depend on you and this is where nutrition comes back into it, because it's really all about, well, when can you do cardio that your stomach won't be upset, or you're feeling okay and you're having the energy and so forth, or it won't keep you up at night and that kind of thing. Ideally, one of the best times to do cardio is first thing when you wake up before you eat anything, because think about this. Remember I was saying it takes 10 to 15 minutes to get in that fat burning zone because we have to burn off all that sugar? Well, when you first wake up, you don't have much sugar floating around in your bloodstream. So therefore, you get into that fat burning zone a little quicker. And so instead of doing 45 minutes of cardio, you only really need to do 30 to 40 minutes. And you're pretty much in that fat burning zone the whole time because you don't have that much sugar to burn off. So your body jumps right into the fat burning mode. So right before is a great time. Now, some people can't do that because they need a little food on their stomach. And again, it's just all up to individuality. If you're someone that needs a little food on your stomach, grab a quick little snack or throw some peanuts down or something that might work to kind of balance the pH in your stomach, so that way you don't maybe feel nauseated. Again, you're just going to have to kind of trial and error and see what works for you. 30 minutes after a meal is also good. A good time to run, because this way you've had a little bit of time to settle down. Obviously, you cannot eat and then go do cardio or go for a run. I mean, you will obviously feel sick to your stomach most likely. So always leave at least 30 to 40 minutes for digestion and to help prevent cramping and things like that. After dinner is also a good time to do cardio. However, some people cannot do it at this time of night because it might keep you awake at night, or it might keep you up. Again, some people, it helps them go to sleep, and some people I know it actually helps cause them to stay up later, or not fall asleep as easily. So again, you're just going to have to kind of play around with it, try different things. In relation to your workouts, sometimes it's good to do, maybe cardio for 30 minutes and then do weights for a few minutes, or do like a combination of the two. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that here in a minute. And as far as what types of foods to be eating, that really doesn't matter. I mean, it's really up to you. Before you're going to go out and do a cardio session, obviously you want to have carbs in you if possible, a little bit, unless you're doing it first thing in the morning. Otherwise, you're just going to have to see how much energy you need. If you go out for a 2-mile run and you find that after 1 mile you don't have any energy left, then you're going to know next time you need to eat maybe a little more carbohydrates before you go and run, so that you have that sustainable energy. But again, remember, try to have a little protein with it each time. Now, after you do an exercise, or a cardio, you don't need to worry about eating unless it's time for a meal anyway. But your body doesn't need it. It's not as important as like after a weightlifting or some type of weight training where you do need to feed your body right away. Another great way of doing your cardio is what I call interval training. And this is a great way to kind of break up the monotony of it. A lot of times people, they get on a machine and they get bored after 10 or 15 minutes. So this is a great way to kind of change it up and to help keep your heart rate in the fat burning zone the whole time, even if it's not something that you're able to do. If you're not able to run the whole time, there's still a way of doing it. So the way you would do this is you would start by warming up for a couple minutes. And then you're going to maybe run for 2 minutes. And when I say run, I mean if you're running or you're on a treadmill, but if you're on the elliptical, you would just speed it up a little bit. Or if you're on a bicycle or the spin bike, you would just speed it up a little bit. It's kind of like a sprint for a couple minutes. So get your heart rate way up there. Now, obviously, you cannot stay at this level or you'll burn out quickly. And if you're looking to do a 30 to 40-minute session, then just back down and maybe walk for a couple minutes, or really slow your speed back down for a couple minutes. But your heart rate's going to take a little time to come back down. But you'll be able to go right back into that sprint again, get the heart rate to go back up. So it's just a way of playing with your heart rate. So overall, it keeps your heart rate high, but not too high, but it keeps it in that fat burning zone that whole time. And it allows you to burn more calories without burning yourself out. Obviously, if you were just to walk or do something slowly for the whole time, you would not burn as many calories. So this is a great way to burn a lot more calories, but keeping your heart rate in that correct target heart rate, in that fat burning zone. And then just kind of keep repeating that. Now, another great way I tell my clients is, do a couple minutes on one machine and then go jump to a different machine. That way it breaks up the monotony of just doing one machine for 30 to 40 minutes. Now, one of my favorite ways of doing cardio is what I call circuit training. And circuit training involves typically some type of resistance exercise or weightlifting. So if you're at the gym, I love this, where you'll do a warm-up for a few minutes on your cardio machine, then maybe run for a couple minutes, get that heart rate up, or again, just sprint or whatever machine you're on, do it quickly so it gets the heart rate up. Then go hit some weights for a couple minutes, maybe 2 to 3 minutes. So do a couple sets of weights. Then come back to the machine, the cardio machine, and do the cardio again. If you'll do this for 30 to 45, even, again, you can do this up to 60 minutes, you're going to get an incredible resistance training workout. You're going to get some great weight training, and your heart rate is going to be in that fat burning zone the whole time, which weight training alone would not do. But by throwing that cardio in there with it, you're able to keep the heart rate high, not too high, but just high enough that you're always burning the fat, you're burning the calories, and you're getting a great full body workout at the same time. Okay, so let's take a quick review at what we just talked about in relation to our cardio. I want you to try to hit 3 times a week, at least 3 times, to get the maximum results. You can do more, but 3 times is about ideal. Try to hit 30 minutes minimum, 45 minutes is ideal, 60 minutes is the maximum. Somewhere between that range is where you want to do it at a time. Again, you want to be in that fat burning zone that whole time, or as much of that time as possible, and it takes a few minutes to get in there. Stay in that fat burning zone, stay in that target heart rate. Don't go too high, don't go too low, but you have to monitor yourself. So make sure that you either have a heart rate monitor, you check your pulse, or you use a machine that has it already built in. And then lastly, have fun. You have to enjoy this. If you don't enjoy it, you won't do it. So I always tell people, find the few things, find the couple of machines that you like, or find that activity. Try the Zumba, try some dance aerobics, or try racquetball, or go swimming, or outdoor cycling. There's so many great ways of doing it. Just try something that gets you active, that will make you have fun and enjoy it.